Good evening and welcome to the SailGP Q&A session. My name is Ray Lambert. I'm a director at the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. And tonight we have Ms. Shireen Beverage, who is the head of event for SailGP, and Tashay Thompson, who is the director of experiences for BTA, to assist with any questions you may have about the event. BEDC is excited to connect opportunities with the small and medium businesses to raise awareness on the opportunities that are available for the upcoming SailGP that will take place in Bermuda on May 14th and 15th, 2022. As part of SailGP Steering Committee, we are pleased to partner with the Bermuda Tourism Authority and SailGP to host a series of question and answer sessions on the vendor and service provisions opportunities SailGP is looking to fill. SailGP has issued an RFP to identify suppliers and vendors in the following categories: staff services, food and beverage, laundry, transportation, event village services such as local entertainers, food and beverage, retail vendors, and furniture vendors. Without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Shireen to give us a little bit more of an understanding and get the ball rolling.
Thanks so much, Ray, and good evening, everyone. Glad you were able to join us for this first of two Q&A sessions. SailGP is excited to be coming back to Bermuda. This is our second time around doing the kickoff to the season. So we're still finishing off season 2, looking forward to season 3, and planning is going full steam ahead. So for many of you, I believe that you would have seen postings on the Bermuda jobs board, and we did do an ad in the Royal Gazette last week, Thursday. So drumming up interest, really happy to see that there's been a really great response so far, people who are interested in getting involved. The key to everything to make this a successful event is to make sure that we do have businesses such as yours involved in the execution of it. So what I'll do is I'm going to take you through a presentation. It's not very long, I promise you. There are very few slides, but it'll help keep things on track. And what we'll want to do is start off with just giving you a little bit more information about SailGP, because I know when we were here last year, there wasn't a great opportunity to experience it in person, but we're looking forward to building out a bigger and better event this time around. So just bear with me while I do all this technical stuff here. And I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. Tashay, you can see my screen, yeah?
Yeah, looks good.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to need some guidance. So we are going to go right into technical issues. No, we are not. I know where I'm going. Here we go.
SailGP is a global championship powered by nature. 9 Sail Grand Prix take place across the world, culminating in a winner-takes-all podium race for $1 million. 8 national teams are represented by the world's greatest athletes. Data is shared between the teams, so there's nowhere to hide on the race course. The 8 boats are at the cutting edge of technology, hitting nearly 100 kilometers per hour flying above the water in close quarters combat on short, sharp circuits. Off the water, SailGP is racing towards a cleaner future, developing technology and pushing boundaries in the battle to change the way we think about our planet.
Hey, Shireen, the video isn't playing. If you're able to, in the viewer, just click the bottom left corner again.
This is the race for the future. SailGP is a global championship powered by nature. 9 Sail Grand Prix take place across the world, culminating in a winner-takes-all podium race for $1 million. 8 national teams are represented by the world's greatest athletes. Data is shared between the teams, so there's nowhere to hide on the race course. The 8 boats are at the cutting edge of technology, hitting nearly 100 kilometers per hour flight above the water in close quarters combat on short, sharp circuits. Off the water, SailGP is racing towards the
Okay, I'm not sure how that went over with everybody. If you managed to see the video, fingers crossed you saw the whole thing. Gotta love technology. And thankfully I have the BEDC here to drive this for me. Let me just get the presentation back up and then we should be good to go. But essentially, you would have seen a lot of footage with Bermuda in the background, and that was from season 2. We have now expanded our roster to be a larger season going into season 3. We were expanding from 8 teams to 10 teams. Come May, you'll see 9 teams on the water competing. So that means more people, more excitement, a bigger village. And it's one of the main reasons why we're here to talk to you today. So let me. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, for season 3, just a little bit more background, we have announced 8 of 10 venues. The season kicks off here in Bermuda, and then we travel around the world. And the next stop after that, we've expanded to Chicago, then over to Plymouth. Then we'll be in Copenhagen, Saint-Tropez, Cadiz, Spain. Another new venue for us will be in Dubai. And then we've got a long-term presence that will be in New Zealand. So as you can see, we are a busy circuit. And 2 more events will be announced that'll take the rest of the season into 2023.
Shireen, sorry, the presentation's not on.
Thank you.
No
I'm
problem.
sure everybody watching is loving this right now. And I can't even see my cursor at the moment. That's fantastic. Hang on a second. Okay, bear with me. Main screen. Can we see it now?
Yes.
Winning. Okay, there we are. Sorry, everyone. Because I've just talked through this slide, we can skip over it. So, as you can see, we are all around the world. And one other point I wanted to just drive home is the fact that while we're having events in these locations, we are broadcasting to over 175 territories for season 2. This should be growing to over 180 plus territories in season 3. So as beautiful as Bermuda is to see in person, we get to expose this to the rest of the world throughout the entire season. So it's a pretty amazing thing. As I was mentioning, we've got an expanded roster. So the Canadian team and the Swiss team are the newest additions to the lineup. We will see the return of the former 8 that are finishing up season 2 right now. So we've got Australia, Denmark, Spain, France, Great Britain, US, and New Zealand. And we have, the most elite athletes in the world when it comes to sail racing that are going to be joining us. So they'll all be converging on the island come May 14th and 15th. And then one of the other things I just wanted to touch on quickly is for the understanding that in addition to the racing scene, we have another outreach community engagement arm, and this is through the SailGP Inspire program. So as you can see, we've got 3 different pillars here that we like to roll out into each of the markets, and that covers off learning, careers, and racing. And that really taps into our youth programs. So for Bermuda, we are partnering with Endeavor to push through a lot of the racing programs and the careers and the learning. But you'll see a lot of the students that go through the Endeavor program on boats working with us, so that way we can give them experience beyond the boat classes that already exist. So WASP racing and RS sailing are 2 of the key boat classes that we'll get involved with. Careers span everything from the actual boating world to various areas within hosting an event. So it'll be on the sustainability side, as well as content creation, videography, anything that has to do with putting on an event of this magnitude. We've got career opportunities that we're tapping into and bringing our youth and younger people along. So, that ranges up to the age of 23. There are applications that will be opening up in the very near future that we'll be putting out there. So, we definitely encourage people to join in and submit applications based on the qualifications that are required in there. And the learning program uses a lot of the STEM-based learning tools. So we have hands-on as well as virtual learning tools that'll be released in the coming weeks. So we definitely encourage everyone to keep an eye out on any media outlets, or this will be shared through a number of different associations, so that we can get as many kids involved in it. It's a nice tie-in with the local heritage, especially the sailing heritage here. So we've got a design challenge coming up that I think a lot of people will be really eager to get their kids involved with. So just be on the lookout for that. The Inspire program goes beyond these 3 areas here. We also touch on a lot of community engagement. So we have an Adopt a Club sailing program where we pair each of the teams with a sailing club that's on the island. That was actually an idea that was conceptualized and born here in Bermuda last April. The success of that, even within COVID times and in tight bubbles, was so well received, especially by the organization, that we decided that we were going to carry that program through to all of the events throughout season 2, and we're growing, understanding how we can better utilize it as a vehicle to make sure that communities are tied in with the racing, with the opportunities that come along with SailGP. It's a really exciting program that we're looking forward to expanding for season 3. And there's so much more to come, but I won't belabor all of that right now, because I'm sure you're interested in getting to know what we have for you as far as opportunities are concerned. So that brings us to the purpose and scope of this evening. So what we're doing is looking to contract a series of individuals or organizations in select categories for what the event in May, which is the Bermuda Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess, who is our title sponsor. The goal is to get fair value for money while aligning ourselves with service-oriented, socially responsible people and firms that best match our principles and priorities. For those of you who may be familiar with our tagline, it's Race for the Future. We have a purpose at the core of our existence. And so beyond just the racing, it's how we're racing, it's what we're paying attention to in the communities, especially where sustainability is concerned. And that's something that we'll get into in a little bit. And not a scary topic, but probably a gray area for a number of people. So there are 2 areas that we're looking for support on at this particular time, and that's with our technical area for the teams, and so that's a lot of the staff services, and then with the race village itself, that will be specifically around the May 14th, 15th timeframe. The staff services will range in servicing set periods of time between April 1 and May 28th, and that involves, we've got catering, laundry, and transportation. Transportation is threefold. So we need airport transfers. We're looking for shuttle services from accommodations to our technical site, which is going to be on Cross Island out in Dockyard. And then water transportation as well. We do have a number of crew that will be staying at the Hamilton Princess and another property in town at Rosemont Guest Suites. So using the docks at Hamilton Princess to transport our folks to and from that base over to Cross Island. And we can get into scheduling and stuff like that, but for the moment, those are the areas that we're looking for. The catering is a very key component. Obviously, we want everybody to stay happy and healthy. It's a large contingent of people that will be coming to the island. We're looking at peak over 200 people. There will be a cadence of people arriving on the island, building up to that number in and around the 2-week mark for the event. And then that will drop off within the week or two afterwards. And those details are definitely going to be outlined in the RFP. There is a very specific RFP for that particular catering opportunity, which is just having some final touches and will be ready as of tomorrow. And I'll be happy to share that with folks who are expressing an interest in that particular area. Laundry services are key. We have a lot of people here that are around for a lengthy period of time, which is great for the island because we've got a number of people that will be buzzing around, supporting local businesses and just getting things active and in preparation for the main event. So we do have a specific RFP for that one as well. Transportation, one of the things I want to note is that for the water transportation, we are looking for charter boats as opposed to personal craft. So I just want to make sure that folks know that this is more commercially driven. The shuttle services between accommodations on land, we're looking at moving people from Willowbank Resort over to Cross Island and back between set hours. Open to having conversations about flexibility, timing, frequency, rates for that time frame, and then capacity, of course. And that'll be heavily dependent on schedules that we're receiving from the global team so that we can set expectations. Again, it's a matter of building up to a peak period in and around the 2-week mark leading into the event. So the beginning of May to the 15th of May will be the heaviest time frame, just for planning purposes and anyone who's actually building out these proposals. The airport transfers, again, that will be schedule based. The more flexibility folks have as far as the size of their vehicles in their fleets or individual vehicles, the better. But of course, we're welcoming everyone to submit so that way we have a number of different options to consider. And then again, working alongside the vendors with the schedules that we're getting from our global team will help us to narrow down what the expectations are, capacities, dates, times, frequencies, things like that. Moving over to the event village, we have a number of different opportunities there. We need food and beverage vendors to come on board. I think one of the popular questions that may come up is, can we serve alcohol as a beverage, food and beverage vendor? The answer is yes. The key thing to anything food and beverage related would be to make sure that the appropriate certifications and whatever the health department deems to be appropriate, all of that stuff needs to be in place, or as long as you can obtain it by the time that we actually need to put it into effect, that would be key. The retail vendors, we are definitely welcoming retail vendors. One of the things that we'll need to go over is just make sure that the items that we're trying to promote are not in direct competition with some of the stuff that we have from our own retail merchandising. And that's something that we can work on with the vendors as we're going through the list. So that way it's more of a complementary kind of thing. We don't want necessarily having people stepping on toes. It doesn't make sense to have everyone offering the exact same thing and then no one really wins at the end of the day. We like to have variety, and that's always a good thing. And then in addition to that, we need furniture vendors. Not necessarily a popular topic, but a very necessary one. As an organization, as we're traveling from one location to another, we're very mindful of the number of containers that we have to move across the globe. So what we like to do is engage local vendors, especially in the furniture area, so they can help us outfit the race village in particular. So anybody who's on this session right now who's got access to that or know somebody who has access to furniture, especially one that's good for indoor and outdoor weather, to help us outfit the race village, that is so key, and we would love to hear from you. And then, of course, there's entertainment. We have an in-venue entertainment lineup that we'd like to fill. We are looking for anyone who can send us photos, videos, links to their social media channels so that we can see a sort of portfolio of what you can bring to the table, because we want to keep everybody really happy and excited during the actual event itself on both the Saturday and the Sunday. This can be a mixture of singers, bands, DJs, definitely, and we're looking for commentators as well. Preferably with sailing background, but if you are somebody who can do sports commentating and keep a crowd active and lively and energized throughout a 2-hour window on each day, we definitely want to hear from you as well. Okay, so one of the big questions that's come up is sustainability. And I just want to give you a very simplified overview of what we mean by sustainability. And again, this does not preclude anybody from doing business with us. This is a growing area for us because the sustainability is at the core of our existence. And by the year 2025, we want to be powered 100% by nature. We want to bring people along with us. So we're happy to work with vendors to help them understand the direction that we're going in. I know that the island is starting to move in a greener direction. But sustainability isn't just about environmental, it's ethics as well. So this slide, very straightforward. From a procurement standpoint, we do have a code, and we want to make sure that people are doing business with us. And when we're taking a look at ethics and things like that, we want to make sure people treat their staff well, that they understand the nature of the products and materials that they're supplying. Where is that sourced from? Who are they getting that from? And are those people complying? It's a bit of a long chain, but an awareness is something that we can build throughout that and move together in a forward direction where this is concerned. And obviously the environment is a big thing, especially on the island. So, single-use plastics are not something that we're interested in taking on. So plastic wrappers, plastic straws, cutlery. There's been a large movement on the island to use greener materials, reusable materials. We can definitely have those conversations and see how we can work with you in that area. A lot of times this pertains mainly to food and beverage, but there are other areas that we can look at to make sure that we're reducing waste as well. Catering, we want to make sure that the meals that are being provided to our staff and athletes and everything are, they're obviously tasty, there's variety, they're healthy, and we want to make sure that it has minimal impact on the environment as well. So something as simple as, somebody wanting to go and order a steak. It's amazing how meat production contributes to the carbon footprint around the world. So we want to minimize the amount of red meat that's on our menu. This is how serious we take this. But, anything that we can do to work with the caterers, if there's locally sourced items, healthy balanced meals, plant-based options, that seems to be a growing thing on the island as well. It's all welcome to come through. Again, if you're registering your interest and you want to have a more detailed conversation about this, we do have subject matter experts that can be brought in to help you, guide you, educate you. And then we can also, talk about how we can move forward, even going into season 4. So at this point, the next steps are to one of two things. If you haven't registered your interest, please do. And that can be done at bermuda@sailgp.com. What we've done is we've divided the dates for submission into 2 areas. So anyone who's looking to submit for staff services, we're looking at March 4th, and for the event village by March 11th. And then, obviously there's time that needs to be taken to put into these RFPs. Feel free to ask questions along the way. We're here to help. And then the review period for each of those, for staff services, we'll be reviewing the submissions between the 5th and the 10th of March, and then awarding the contracts by March 11th. And then for the event village, we'll be reviewing between March 12th and 20th, and then we'll be awarding those by the 21st. Okay, so that's enough of the slides. And again, my cursor has gone missing, so let's see. There we go. Okay, so from a question standpoint, I know that there were some that were submitted. I think I answered some of them coming through, but Ray, do you have any more that have come through since we've started the presentation?
Well, I do see one that we did receive. It's one about capital. Is capital going to be available to access to secure infrastructure associated with a specific bid? I can probably answer that. The intent is to utilize existing businesses wherever possible. BEDC do offer various products to assist with businesses. However, the intent is not necessarily to start a business for a particular project here. If there's a particular interest that someone has in starting a business and or getting materials that are associated with this event, by all means, that's something that we can discuss here at BEDC. But for us, it's really more about assisting the growth of businesses versus those that are being set up for a particular event. So if there's something in the RFP that someone's interested in starting, give us a call at BEDC, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that there is a product or fund set aside for SailGP. It's really about what we do on a day-to-day at BEDC, that if this fits in, great. Now, as far as any other questions, I know Jamila was coming aboard. I'm not sure if she's on as of yet to go through the existing questions, but I do have a couple of others. And I see some of them that have been answered already. Will you be looking for boat transport to and from the event? I believe you answered that question already. The answer is yes. Shireen, I don't know if you wanted to go over that again just to be clear what those particular opportunities will be.
Sure, yeah, the boat transfers, we're looking for staff services under that category, and it'll be from the docks at Hamilton Princess to take folks to and from at regular intervals, and those timings are yet to be decided because it's schedule driven, and that'll be between Cross Island and the Hamilton Princess docks. So those would be charter boats that we're looking for support on. So people, by all means, hit us up again at the email address if you want to express an interest, and I can send through the more specific RFP, and that should help them with their submissions.
I see one here in reference to vendors. Does SailGP need vendors for masks, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, gloves, etc.?
That's a great question, because we're not completely out of COVID, but things will be opening up by the time, once March 31st hits. I think that's going to be a huge boulder off of everyone's shoulders. So I think we're all looking forward to some free movement. If we do need to reach out, I believe somebody did submit contact information regarding that service, and it's appreciated. So we can always go back to our global team to ask them if they need a local supplier where that's concerned, and then we can reach out to that individual or those companies.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry for interrupting. There are some questions also in the little chat function. So Ray, I'll let you finish, and then I'll make sure that we go through those questions as well.
Sure. Yeah, I see one here. It's our commission. What is the commission or fee that you will be charging as a vendor? And what is the deadline to sign up?
Okay, that's a great question. And the nice thing is we've got some flexibility there. So that'll come through in the negotiation process. There are a couple of different ways we can look at it. There could be a rev share option instead of a fee, or there could be a flat fee for the vendors. So those details are being worked out, because a lot of that has to do with footprint, number of people being served, the kind of business that you are, whether it's retail or food and beverage. So I encourage those people to just submit register their interest with us so that we can have that conversation in greater detail with them. And I'm happy to get that over to them. It's a great question.
I do see one that I don't think we covered, but maybe you can just answer it so we're clear. What technology or Wi-Fi services would this event need? Is that something that we're really looking for in an RFP? I don't believe I saw that, but is that something that's needs to be discussed? It's just a question.
I mean, the service that's going to be in the area will most likely be boosted. One of the questions that we'll be asking on the RFPs are what the needs are of those particular vendors. So because what we're looking at are POS systems, we're trying to have a cashless approach to interactions at the village. So when the RFP is set out, we'll ask whether or not they're set up for a POS system, because at that point, obviously, connectivity will be required. And so we just need to make sure that we understand how much connectivity is required, and then what we can do is deal with our infrastructure to make sure that that is supported.
Jamila, yes, thank you. Jamila, do you want to add a few that you've received?
I do, as a latecomer. So someone's asking the event village opening hours. And I would also add, what would be the requirements for the vendors who actually are operating in the event village? I would imagine that they would have to get there either before or after the hours of operation.
So right now we're looking at noon to 6 p.m. on both the Saturday and the Sunday.
Okay.
And as far as what we call load-in times, that all depends on what infrastructure is needed by some of the vendors. So if we had a food truck, for example, if it's a matter of them having to move it there prior to the event days, we can make arrangements for that. That is an ask that's in the RFP, so that way they can let us know what their needs are and we can accommodate accordingly. So, much like Cup Match, you've got setups that take place well in advance. People, need 24 hours to really kit out their space and everything. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that we need to know from the vendors that would be coming on board. So how much time do you need for setup? Let's make some allowances to work with you to make sure that that can happen. So they don't have to worry about coming in at 9 that morning and only having 3 hours to set up, but it takes longer than that. If it's the day before, so it just so happens it's Friday the 13th. Yeah, we can definitely accommodate on that day.
Right. For those superstitious people.
13's a lucky number for me, so it's going to be for everybody else as well. So it's all good.
I love it. I like that positive affirmation. That's what we call it.
Yes.
So pertaining to laundry, what is the turnaround time you're looking for, and what kinds of services? Wash, dry, fold, press?
If somebody wants to come to my place and take care of all of that, I'm all for it. The good news is we would work with the vendor to, while we do want quick turnaround times, especially for our athletes, we are realistic in understanding that, it would most likely be a once a week. Maybe it's split into groups, like we've got a designated day for half a group and another half a group. A large part of this is also dependent on drop off and delivery ability, and bagging, tagging, just making sure that things are labeled accordingly, and just understanding what the capacity is of the vendors that are coming through. Again, this all ties back to the peak timeframes. So, in the lead up, we're going to have groups of maybe 20 or 30 come in, but by the time we hit the peak timeframe, we're looking at over 200 people. So, we're still working out arrangements. We want to know what options are available to us so that we can make that efficient and not an unrealistic ask of anybody. Okay. Because if they can't turn it around in that time frame, we don't want to set anybody up for failure. We want to make sure everybody is successful in this process. So let's say for now it's once a week, and but with a quick turnaround time. So if it's a drop off on a particular day, we need to figure out how fast they can turn that around to deliver the cleaned items. As far as the range of cleaning, that's a great question that I don't have the answer to right away. So I know. I'm sorry. I mean, easy thing is to chuck everything and just wash it all one
Right.
time and send it out. But I'm sure that there are going to be specific needs by different groups, because it's not just athletes that we're dealing with in tech teams. We do have other groups that, deal with our partnerships and things like that. So their laundering services may be more dry cleaning based. So the variety, I can definitely go back to our team and ask them what the range of needs are in order
Okay.
to satisfy that for the laundry service.
So
Yeah.
in the RFP kind of application process, if this person is interested in providing laundry services, they can apply and list what they say, but there is an opportunity for maybe some dialogue or confirmation of services to make sure that they are able to provide it. So that is available.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
for all RFPs that go out. We want to encourage
Okay.
conversation, just because nothing's etched in stone. We have to offer some flexibility on our side to work with what's available in Bermuda, and what's available in Bermuda might be different than, the next venue. So
Okay.
yeah, we understand the level of flexibility that's needed as well. Yeah.
Okay. And Amanda asked if there will be overnight security for, I guess, vendors who are on site, or will they need to break down and set up again on the next day?
Oh no, we definitely have security.
Okay.
Yeah, rest assured, Amanda, we have security. And, they were fabulous last year when we had the site, because what happens is when you go out to Cross Island, there's a technical area as well. So the tech site houses extremely valuable property like the F-50s and all their machinery and stuff like that. And then, of course, any vendor that's going to be participating, we're taking care of all of that ourselves as well. So security is going to be there 24/7 during that time frame. No worries there.
Okay, perfect. Jessica wants to know, will the athletes need personal trainers or a gym location?
Ooh. I know there was that came up last year. That's a great question. Can Jessica send us an email? And
Jessica?
I can find out and get back to her. Yeah, so
Let's see if I can
Bermuda at
type the answer. Oh, look, here we go. I'm gonna email. Tell me the email.
Bermuda at SailGP.com. Tashay's going to turn that into a jingle, and
I
we're
know.
going to sing it out.
Bermuda at SailGP.com.
It's okay.
There we go. And
We'll
Ray's
hire
gonna-
a professional for that. Don't count on me.
Ray's going to be a singer, so we're going to.
Yeah, Jamila, don't apply for the entertainment section.
No, I will not. I'll look, what they say, keep your day job. I'm gonna keep my day job. Esther wants to know, will stalls be supplied, or will vendors have to bring their own things into like a designated area?
Another great question. So one of the requests from us is to let us know if they have infrastructure. Okay. If not, I believe we have tents that are going to be set up for them. So some people prefer to use their own thing because it's very specific to them delivering their service or goods. And then, so it is one of the asks that's on the RFP, and they can indicate whether or not they need support there.
Okay. I was going to ask you about, like, is there any kind of co-branding that happens, or, does SailGP have to be displayed? Are you providing selected vendors with anything like that, or is going to be very based on what they currently have?
It's really based on what they currently have, because what happens is once we enter into partnerships with companies, then those branding assets get discussed with those partnerships. We're asking vendors to come in. So, if you're, Lunchwagon 2.0 and you have your own brand and it comes along with your food truck, that's the brand that's there. So it's actually a really great way for vendors to display who they are and for us to get extra support just all year round. It's a great time to be exposed to the masses. And I think one of the questions that'll probably come up, especially from a logistics standpoint, is how many people are going to be serviced on the island? Like, what's the foot traffic going to be like? Because people need to figure out volumes. So I know that will be a key thing. And right now, I'm going to say prepare between 2,000 and 4,000.
Okay.
over the course of the 2 days. We can narrow that down, but of course, that's all dependent upon ticket sales and,
Right.
everything is pending permits. Provided everything stays the same after March 31st with there not being any limitations to events, then that's the path that we're going down. So if people want to start thinking in that arena, that's the best way to go.
Okay. That's plenty of people, y'all. Get this money. Okay, so Haley wants to know, for merchandise vendors, is there a form to fill out, or shall we offer an overview of our brand and products that can be provided to the email address given?
If they have a catalog of sorts that they can share with us, then that would be brilliant.
Okay.
Because then what can happen is we can, as I was mentioning before, the non-competing items with SailGP merchandise, that's where that kind of comes into play, so that we can just make sure that everybody's happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jessica would like to know, will there be any kid events?
Sorry?
Any kid events for children?
Actually, we're talking about that because we want to make sure that families are definitely entertained. Now, the show on the water is going to be a wow factor, and I'm pretty sure the kids are going to be standing there gobsmacked because, these things are huge. And when you're a kid, everything's larger than life.
Yeah.
Additionally, part of the entertainment RFP that comes through, if there are people who have, mobile things that can help entertain, then why not, right? It's a race village that we want to make sure as many people are entertained as possible. We will have big screens and stuff like that there. So there's going to be, it's not just the racing on the water with the stands. We're also going to have internal areas where things are going to be shown on the main screen, which is one of the reasons why we need commentators as well. And so there's that level of entertainment. We'll have music, we'll have, whatever entertainers are going to work for us, then that's great. One of the other things that we're working on, it hasn't been 100% solidified yet, but we will be looking for potentially having an entertainer or two on a boat.
Oh. Okay.
More to come on that.
Okay.
But,
And
I never know.
well,
No,
I just
Bermuda's no wrapped up.
Right?
It sure is.
We sure are. So Jessica has a follow-on question, which is all around children and kids. So they're looking, are you looking to promote events for kids, and are you looking for entertainers for kids? So I guess if someone is an entertainer and they have an idea that they think could make this even more fun, especially for children, would you advise them just to submit anyway?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that will also fall within the entertainment RFP.
Right.
And I want to just encourage people to kind of think outside of the box of what entertainment could be. It doesn't have to be a band or a performer. It can be entertainment for kids. And what does that look like? That could look like fun castles, laser tags, just be as creative. I think one of the good things about this event is it wants to encompass the community, and the community, a big portion of that is families. So
Yes.
just when you're submitting, you want to think about all those factors that has a large scale event, and what are the things that people will want for couples, for kids, for families, etc.
Okay. Well, Jessica, hopefully that gives you something to work with. And then we have a question from Amanda, and she wants to know about how big will the village be, and how many retail vendors are you hoping to include?
Right. So the village is going to house a lot of stuff. So Cross Island is going to be well utilized. We're still detailing the plans, the layout, where everything's going to sit. At the moment, I want to say there's probably about 10 slots for vendors at the moment. Now, how that's divvied up, and that's an approximation, it's not final. How that's divvied up between food vendors and retail vendors remains to be seen, because it also depends on who's submitting. So again, we are, we're heavily dependent on what goes on in each of the locations by working with the communities. So people need to submit in order for us to consider. and it's encouraged. So that way, the more options, the better. I mean, we only have so many placements that we can fill. And you know, I hate to disappoint anybody because I mean, we've all been going through tough times for the last 2 years, so we want everybody to benefit. But you know, let's talk. That's really what this is all about. And let's see what's out there and what kind of variety we can offer Bermuda on, you know, on those 2 days in the race village.
Okay, well, that was the last question. So if you can hear my voice and you haven't had your question answered, please go ahead and type it in and I'll do my best to read it out and represent for you. And if not, we will wrap it up, I guess. Unless there are any questions, Ray, that you can think of that maybe we should. Shireen.
You want to ask a question and answer a question, Shireen?
Yes.
I want to answer the question if that's okay. Can I call it?
Well, I just want to just make the point that, you know, from what I'm getting is that they are open. You know, they're giving some guidelines for some of the things that they're looking for, but I think it's a, you know, it's an opportunity to also present ideas. So anyone that's listening that has something interesting that that may have come up, you know, in concept, you know, put it in an email and submit and see where it falls. You know, they're here for at least a 2-year commitment, so you know some of those ideas may take some building, but I think that they're open for whatever's possible at that venue.
I think you know, Ray, you hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, SailGP is about innovation. So rather than viewing us as, you know, a standard sailboat, you know, regatta, which we're not, we're a global championship, and it's racing. It's high-speed racing. We're talking about boats that are, you know, hitting almost 100 kilometers an hour, but as a fleet that is just, it's insane on the water. And so it's going to be an epic time in Bermuda. And as I was talking about with Jamila earlier on the Mind Your Business show, you know, we know that Bermuda can throw down. We know how to party here. We know how to have a good time and put on great events. And we want a fantastic event on the water. We want to be able to broadcast that to the world. I mean, over 180 territories. It's incredible. The storyline that started in April here in Bermuda for season 2 has literally carried through all of the other events. A lot of the footage that was captured here, those stories keep getting retold over and over and over again. It's just an epic time to be a part of a growing league. We're a very new league. We're only going into our 3rd season, so we're the babies in the bunch, but we are growing exponentially, and we got a lot to give. You know, there's the community engagement is huge, and it starts here. One of the questions that I did notice that we hadn't addressed, there was a question about, can Bermuda Parent Magazine be a sponsored communication outlet? I would actually ask that person to send through to bermuda@sailgp.com, but then what I will do is carry that forward over to the marketing communications side and our partnerships teams to find out what their thoughts are on that, and have the appropriate person reach out to the magazine to discuss that in general. And again, that's an example of ask the question, and you know, we'll discuss it. Why not? Because you know, there may be things when you're planning multiple events at the same time, every location is so different. So we're not going to be aware of absolutely every opportunity that is there to give from the community. So we're really reaching out to say, hey, you have an idea, you have a product, you have a service, you have something that you think you can contribute to this to make it a better event. Let's hear about it. Happy to have that conversation. So yeah, Ray, you're on point. This is all about opening up dialogue. And again, because season 4 will be here before you know it. I mean, a year has already passed, and I feel like I just blinked. It's
going too fast. I can't take it.
It keeps going and it keeps growing. And you know, the Inspire stuff that I was touching on earlier, that whole diversity, just making sure that we have accessibility. It's not just to the sport, but from a community standpoint, we're really touching on gender equity, diversity, inclusion, words that are very popular, but meaningful to us. It's all part of our purpose and impact arm, because we have that whole race for the future contingent that we push forward through every single event. on top of the racing. So I don't know if anybody knows this, but we have females racing with these teams. These are co-ed teams, and these chicks are just like, they are hardcore. They're out there, they're grinding. I'm scared, but they're grinding, and you know, they're holding their own, and the theme is to grow that, and hopefully one day there's an all-female league. So
Yeah,
you know,
like
anybody's
next time.
So we're getting Jamila on the boat, and Shay will be there too. I will not. I'll be on the sideline cheering.
Look, I'll be cheerleading. I will be cheering them on.
But what's great is that when we have the programs through the likes of Endeavor, or even the sailing clubs, if anybody here is associated with one of the sailing clubs and there are sailing programs there, and you have, you know, young females in the household that are interested in sailing, keep pushing them, because this is the kind of league that they can aspire to be a part of, and that, you know, we're building those leagues in each of the markets. Is it's not just the global team that's responsible for this. Each of the individual teams for each nation is also promoting programs within their ranks as well. So it's this exponential thing that's just growing organically, and it's fantastic. And then, you know, eventually we'll get into more details about the sustainability, but the you know, the focus is that we've actually got two leagues running simultaneously. It's the racing side of things, and then we've got the impact league. So that socially and environmentally sustainable approach that we have is actually got its own leaderboard, and each of the teams are responsible for doing that. So if we have anybody on the call that is heavily involved in the sustainability sector, you know, we want to hear from you as well. If you have socially sustainable or environmentally sustainable items that you want to retail, we absolutely want to hear from you. So, you know, it all pieces together like a giant puzzle, but it starts here.
All right. Well, I didn't see any other questions come through, so.
No, there are a couple questions. I can see it.
Okay.
I see here one from Erika. Will BTA and SailGP promote the selection of local businesses and vendors? I don't know, Tisha, do you want to that one?
Ray, could you repeat yourself? Could
Will
BTA
BTA and SailGP promote the selection of local businesses and vendors?
Oh, so once they're selected, will we highlight the individuals who were selected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was an easy one for
Yeah,
us.
that was easy, Ricky. Of course.
Yes, thank you, Marika. Yeah, the goal is to make sure,
Yeah.
you know, we all love to support local businesses. We support our families, our friends, anybody who's pushing through. So if you're part of the village, we would like to tell your story. And you can definitely work on that together once everything's been awarded and done, and then everybody can just come out and support and get the economy going again. Exciting.
Yeah. That just aligns with just our communication strategy. We want to be talking about this. We want to get people excited about this event. We want to get people excited about the people who are participating in this event who are local. So for us, something that's so exciting as the individuals who are selected to be a part of this great event, we're all about sharing that through our channels, through SailGP, through BEDC's channels as well. So we'll be tapping into all our channels to share this great news once announced.
Right. I don't see any more. Do you, Ray? I'm looking. I'm like, where are these questions coming? Wait. Is there a separate RFP for retail and food and beverage?
Sorry, the first part of that cut out.
Is there a separate RFP for retail and food and beverage? Like, are they separate?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay. Yes, Ashley, they are.
Yeah,
And
they're not drastically different, because there are conceptually they're very similar, but obviously certain requirements of food and beverage are not required of retail.
And it looks like Jessica asked, will you be speaking to Bermuda's youth or providing workshops about sailing to Bermuda's youth?
Absolutely. So the Inspire program is partnered with Endeavor, and through our contacts with Endeavor, because Inspire comes in to each of the markets to help amplify the existing youth sailing programs. So between Endeavor and then the Adopt a Club programs, we are heavily focused on youth and getting them involved. So the speaking engagements will also, I mean, from a virtual standpoint, can extend to schools. We want to encourage participation. In-person participation is what's on the agenda. Getting youth to, we have these things like, what do we call them? We call them tech tours. So it's an invitation to come down to Cross Island to take a look behind the scenes, get them excited, involved. The STEM program that's developed, Tom Herbert Evans, who really heads up the Inspire program, he's brilliant. He's been doing this forever and he's so inspiring and he's fantastic with kids. The team he's got around them, fantastic with kids. I mean, like, he's just amazing to see in action. And then, as we go from market to market, the more kids that get involved, the more excited we get. So WASP Racing, for example, that is it's an application. It's actually open right now. We'll be sharing more of that. The applications don't close until April 15th. So we've got a large window of time to get youth involved in the racing side of things. The RS sailing, there'll be nominees. That will be a competition. The fantastic part about that is that they get to showcase their skills on the race weekend ahead of the F50 racing. So everybody who's at the event village gets to see our youth on the water racing.
Awesome.
Nice.
One of the cool things that's happening in San Francisco for the grand final, which is at the end of March, and I encourage everybody to watch it because it's going to be epic, especially since San Francisco Bay is so cold, and they'll be looking forward to Bermuda in May. There is a WASP grand final, and in that particular situation, what we've done is invited all the champions from the WASP racing events around the world to compete in San Francisco for the final. So it's exciting that we're going to be able to offer this program this season. We couldn't last season because of obvious challenges that were there. But being able to offer this, and then, it's about figuring out pathways. So it's not just a one-stop shop. It's about creating pathways, creating opportunities that can be furthered. The RS sailing, that's an actual competition. So there will be a leaderboard, they will be assigned numbers and everything. That's racing specific. Careers, that's one-on-one placements, having that work experience while the event is here. And that spans everywhere from, content creation through to boat building, to roping and rigging, on-water operations, sustainability. It's a variety of opportunities there. So more information will be released about that. And then, of course, the learning program, which I've touched on, that's skewed younger. So what we're trying to build is a network through schools. Obviously, this is in development and stuff like that. So quite a number of opportunities for us to be talking to youth from a wide range of ages.
And with that, is it going to be open to the public, or will there be sort of an application process, or people have to sign up to attend the youth related events?
It depends on the event, really.
Okay.
The racing is nomination and application based. The careers are application based. The learning part is more outreach. So we will try to cover as many schools and as youth, but the dynamics are still being ironed out because we just need to make contact and everything. But if this is an individual that's looking for more of an open forum or wants to get involved, if they want to send the contact information through to Bermuda@SailGP.com, then we can, if they have certain ideas in mind that they want to explore, or that maybe we need to explore,
right, then
share that over.
Look, the young people of Bermuda need not worry, because Jessica got their back. She making sure you guys are gonna have something for them. I am not mad. Thank you, Jessica. Good looking out. Rika asked you to Shay, can you speak a bit about the marketing to get people on the island to attend? Is that a part of the strategy? Do you have a target number? And are these people who follow SailGP to all of the different destinations? Is there like a group that, Roadies, that's what we call them.
The good thing is the partnership with SailGP has been a great and collaborative one. We've been able to tap into their network as they've been able to tap into ours. We anticipate this being a visitor event that attracts over, I don't even want to put a number to it because, you know, I think that between both our efforts, we know this between the event individuals that are coming off of the event, for the people that are participating on the teams, it's going to have a huge visitor component. So both our marketing teams are out there promoting the event. We'll also have a presence at the San Francisco event to promote the Bermuda event coming in May. Our communications director, we'll have people coming down for the event. So it's literally, we've invested heavily in marketing this event overseas to attract visitors on island. So we're excited about the opportunity. We know it's going to be a wonderful event. We know that Bermuda is going to be busy during that weekend, and which we're really excited about. So I think, again, between both our marketing efforts, we'll get a good bit of visitors on island. And just again, the people that are coming down for the event is going to be a great number of overseas guests just taking part in the event as well.
And then Erika asked, is there going to be a specific Bermuda themed trophy for the winners?
I don't do trophies. If it was up to me, that would be great. But again,
like,
definitely be a trophy of some sort. Go ahead, Shireen.
Maybe we need to create one.
I know.
As a token, you know, it's just kind of like, hey, you know, thanks for coming, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. The big trophy is really at the end of the championship season, so it's $1 million prize that goes to the winning team, which is fantastic. Yeah, right. No, okay. I mean, we're gonna get you on that boat, Jamila. So the $1 million prize is actually the largest monetary prize in the sport to date right now, and you know, that could grow. Who knows? We'll have, that remains to be seen. The nice thing is that the other championship, the other leaderboard that we were talking about with the Impact League, the winner of that, any funds raised, if I remember how this goes correctly, because everything is just growing exponentially, there is money that goes towards the organizations that they're partnered with. So, you know, Team New Zealand is partnered with Parley for the ocean, so it's ocean conservation. And then we've got Japan, who's associated with a no more plastics type of organization. I mean, they even look at what your clothing is made of. It is insanely deep. And yeah, so I mean, if there are trophy ideas per event, again, hey, throw it our way.
All right. Jessica wants to know if you're searching for a local to show the athletes around the island.
Oh, we got ambassador. I'm going to leave that one to Shay.
Jessica, you volunteering your services? If so, send Serene that email. We could say that email address one more time.
Hey, everybody's got to know it's Bermuda at SailGP.com.
Bermuda at SailGP.com.
But you know, the thing that I love about Bermuda and these type of events, the athletes are here. Obviously, once they get here, they're super focused on winning the race. I mean, you have the athletes, you have the tech crew. They just, because we're such a small destination, rather than eating at a restaurant or going to work or hopping on a ferry, they're always interacting with the local that becomes some sort of ambassador. And that's the one thing I love about our people. We're so friendly and warm and opening. And the minute you say, I'm here for SailGP, you know, you're going to be invited to an event. You're going to be told about this happening. So we naturally have local ambassadors. But again, you know, when it comes to whether we're going to have a formal process of ambassadors showing people around, you know, that's something that we can look into for sure.
So submit all your ideas. It sounds like, you know, Bermuda at SailGP.com. That is the place where all are welcome.
The one thing I did want to say is that there is also a volunteer program that will be built out to get even more people involved with the event. So, yeah, I mean, you know, the more and that's an opportunity for Bermudians to come forward as ambassadors for the island. I mean, this is the ultimate hospitality destination, and we want to make sure people know that. And, you know, people are itching to get back into talking about the island, the beauty of the island. I can't tell you how many times I've either taken a taxi or just stood next to somebody at a bus stop, and I'm learning about the flora and fauna of the island. And it doesn't matter how long you live on the island, there's still more to explore, still more to learn. It's a fantastic natural segue into other conversations, and it's just amazing how many people you meet and experience and stuff. But the volunteer program is something that will launch in the near future, because we will need a large contingent of people to help us put this on. So if there are people who are avid volunteers who want to get involved, even just on the day of, because they can't necessarily commit or don't have a business to you know, to bring forward in this kind of environment, but you want to be a part of the event, then, you know, keep your ears and eyes open for information where that's concerned, and be an ambassador for us. Why not?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Well, Rita said thank you. So.
I want to say one last thing. First of all, I apologize for my voice. I lost it doing some karaoke singing last night. But I know we're talking a lot about vendor opportunities. And one of the things I want to say, like large scale events like SailGP have such a huge direct economic impact on our economy. And now more than ever, these type of events are what's needed. It's needed for so many different reasons, just from an economic impact standpoint, from a vendor opportunity, but also just to inspire us as we go through this tourism recovery efforts. So one of the things, even if you're not selected as a vendor, there's going to be so much opportunity and direct impact as a result of this event. So restaurants, hotels, tour operators, you can anticipate getting a piece of the pie, as we like to say it. So even if you're not in the event village, and because it's a limited number of spaces, events like this have such a huge impact community-wide from east to west. So just want to remind people of there's always an opportunity. The fact that we have visitors here, we're going to have a team here that's, I think, Serene, you says arriving as early as April. So there's individuals that are going to be here for over a month, you know, in our restaurants, you know, doing in our attractions, in our retail stores. So there are going to be a lot of economic impacts and opportunities beyond just the vendor opportunities that Shireen's been talking about this evening, which we're really excited about for the community.
On the back end of that, I just want to say is that usually there's an economic impact report that's built and published after the event. So I know that there's going to be, you know, huge interest in seeing, you know, the value of having SailGP on the island. And I think there are a lot of people that can attest to the fact that, you know, we did have a significant impact, even in a limited scope, at the beginning of season 2. So if that's any indication of what the potential is for this season, I think it's absolutely something for people to get excited about, and to know that just continue to grow into season 4. So to have 3 back-to-back years of being here, we're excited. You know, we're invested. We're interested. There's all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Well, Jessica, you got somebody on your team already, Shireen. She said, where would a person go to apply for a job with SailGP? So she ready.
What was that email address again?
Cue jingle.
Give me my go-to email address.
I'm telling you.
There we go.
Bermuda@SailGP.com.
Yeah, you can start there.
Start there.
It's a big network. It's a very big network. I am one person at the moment here on the ground, and which is a very key thing to being able to pull all of this stuff together. But you know, there's it's a massive contingent. SailGP, while it's not as big as some of the other leagues, but because we're spread out, I mean, we all communicate with each other virtually. It's weird when we actually see each other face to face. It's just like, you're human? Oh, this is great. But it's amazing how we're able to pull such a huge event together virtually. It's kind of crazy. But you know, it's a growing league, so you know.
All right. Well, it looks like we've come to the end. That was a good segue. to first of all, thank you guys for being here and for doing this. I think it's important that you took the time to kind of go through and answer these specific questions. Hopefully people are like, yep, I'm ready, I'm gonna submit. And if you have further questions, I guess they can email bermuda@sailgp.com. But no, I'm excited. And for those who, if you know somebody who wasn't able to make tonight's question and answer session, we are going to do this again, right, on Monday. This time we're going to do it at 12:30. So in the afternoon, for those where evenings don't work, we do have the other option of a afternoon session. And we'll do this all over again and get your questions answered. So thank you, Shireen. Thank you, Tashay. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for putting up with my technical issues at the beginning. I know that was probably very painful, so apologies, and I appreciate your patience.
Yes. All right. I think that's it. That's all, folks.
Thanks,
Have a good
baby.
evening. And I guess I'll see you, Shireen, on Monday.
Yeah,
Okay.
you will. 12:30. I might have to do practicing in the back end just to make sure this presentation thing works.
All right. Have a good night.